Welcome back. Do you realize that you may have an unconscious addiction that you don't even know that you have? And this addiction could be massively blocking you, stopping you, and slowing you down from manifesting what you desire. As humans, so many of us are addicted to what I call the how. Addicted to asking yourself constantly, how do I make it happen? And if you're in a frequency of constantly running this how addiction of needing to figure out how something's going to happen, you're in a frequency of fear. You're in a frequency of doubt. You're in a frequency of uncertainty. You're definitely not in a frequency of deeply knowing and trusting that your manifestations will happen and appear with ease and grace. No, you're wearing the weight of your manifestations on your shoulder. And you're basically saying to yourself, to God, to the universe, I don't know if my manifestations are going to happen, because if I don't figure out how it's going to happen, then I don't know how it's going to happen, which means that it might not happen. And you're operating from this frequency of doubt, this frequency of fear. This is such a big limit that can block us and that can stop us. But the good news is that in this lesson, you're going to get this handled. So the mind can get addicted to trying to figure out how something's going to happen. And what this does is it sends us in loops. It puts us in these circles, because really, ultimately, it's impossible for us to control the full process. Remember back to the lesson where we spoke about manufactured manifestation versus surrendered manifestation. And remember, we talked about when you are attempting to manufacture how something shows up in your life, then you're not in an energy of abundance. You're not in an energy of expansion. You're not in an energy of allowing the miracles to unfold before your very eyes. No, you're in an energy of control, an energy of fear, an energy of doubt. And guess what? When we talked about releasing control in order to activate surrendered manifestation, well, one of the biggest ways that people attempt to control is through overthinking. Overthinking is a form of control. And so tune into this right now and ask yourself, have I been overthinking? Have I been allowing my mind to spin in circles? Has my unconscious how addiction been blocking me from my powerful manifestation frequency and also from taking aligned action? Chances are at some level the answer is yes. We all get to look at this. We all get to upgrade this. We all get to release our how addiction. How do we do this? We do a process, and how I call it is I call it a how dump. You can call it a how purge, a how clearing. I call it a how dump. It's literally when your unconscious mind dumps everything that it no longer needs and requires, everything that's been driving these patterns of overthinking and spinning in circles and looping you around. We dump it out into your journal and out onto your paper. And then from that place, you begin to train yourself to notice what is different when you're not addicted to the how, when you're not spinning in circles, when you're not constantly worrying about how is this going to happen, okay? So let's dive right into this. Your soul work for today is to journal and to do 2 how dumps and clear your unconscious mind from spinning around in the how. And I want you to really go into this and ask yourself, when you tune into your manifestations, how could they show up? What are all the different ways that possibly they could show up? Now, remember, you're doing 2, one for the quest and one for your larger manifestation. So what you would do for task number 1 is you would ask yourself, okay, when I connect to my manifestation that's going to happen on or before this quest, when I connect to that, how could that show up? Well, it could show up by turning up in this way. It could also show up by turning up in this way. I could have this happen by taking this action. I could also have this happen by taking this other action over here. And you write out this big list. We're operating in the field of infinite possibilities. And so remember, this is not about your mind figuring out how your manifestation is going to happen. No, this is about clearing that out, purging that out, dumping that out of your system so that you can actually be in a frequency of surrendered manifestation. Do this task twice, repeat it, and then do it for your larger manifestation. Now, for the second layer of soul work, I want you to simply notice what is different within your mind, within your energy, within your emotions after this purging and clearing process. You might notice that your mind is more clear. You might notice that your energy isn't so worried about how something's going to happen. You might notice that you actually start thinking different thoughts even about how something could show up. When we're in the field of infinite possibilities and we're connected to that, that feels very different to unconsciously spinning and looping around in your how addiction. So for your second task, notice what is different. For your second task, notice the pieces that feel different within you and share this with the tribe. Share your breakthroughs and your takeaways with the tribe and let us know, how was it for you when you went through this how dump, this purging process of the mind? And what is now different with the version of you that you're choosing to bring to the table? Go deep with this. This may take some time, but this is potent work. And when you release your how addiction, you really start playing into the magic of manifestation. I'm excited to dive even deeper with you on the next lesson.